Uri Nara is a story about Korean adoptees that have grown up abroad and later as adults returned to Korea to stay there for a longer period of time. And basically, that's my own story. I mean, I was born in Seoul in 1975 and adopted to Germany. And my first time in Korea was in 2006. Came there to study at a university program at India University in Gimhae. They offer like an adoptee program to get introduced into the language, the culture and everything, and I stayed there for one semester, and after that I worked in Korea for a while and then stayed and moved to Seoul, and that's kind of how it started for me. So in fall 2006 I moved to Seoul, and I kind of immediately became part of that adoptee community there, and because of that I would hear lots of stories of adoptees that were living in Korea, and you'd hear about their whole background, and it was really, really interesting. I felt, okay, that is something I want to work with on a project. So I came up with the idea of doing these portraits and mixing them with interviews, because I felt immediately that I could not tell these stories only in pictures. I mean, photography is limited in many ways. And after thinking about the project and like about the concept and everything for a while, I kind of started taking pictures in 2007. Another reason why I wanted to do is that I felt that this concept of adoptees that return to their motherland, that decide to stay there, that just not go there on a holiday trip, is something that is kind of unheard in the media. And I felt that this would be important to kind of show to the outside world, because me as an adoptee, I had not heard about that before. And that was incredible. I mean, for many adoptees, it's kind of like this faraway goal to go back to the motherland one day and just see it, experience it yourself. But really moving there, just kind of like becoming more part of that, is something a whole lot different. And yeah, that's something what I thought was helpful for many adoptees out there to see, okay, look, there's a chance that you could go back and make it. Another aspect is that the media only shows one side of adoption. It's like this one way, and once you get sent abroad for adoption, you're never expected to return. And this concept, I mean, like my work would be something that would prove them wrong, that there is a chance to go back, that there is a lot of adoptees that decided to do this as adults. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna show the world, and it's like I'd let them tell the rest why they did it and whether it's good or bad. The difference between the two projects, well, Uri Nara is, first of all, my own project. It's my idea. It's something that I came up with and what I executed, while Gastarbeiter was something that was asked to do. Back then in 2011 or 12, I got a call and I was asked like whether I was interested in doing a work about Korean minors and nurses in Germany, because there was this upcoming anniversary and they wanted to do an exhibition. And they already had asked like a famous German photographer, Helene Kobel, to work on that project, and then they wanted to have a second voice, a younger photographer, Korean German somehow, and so they asked me to do it, and I was very honored, and so I started working on that. Another big difference that I think is really interesting is that while Uri Nara is about Koreans or overseas Koreans that went abroad and were expected to stay abroad. And then later, as adults, returned to Korea. Gastarbeiter, on the other hand, is a work about overseas Koreans that went abroad, were expected to stay and work there for 3 or 4 years, and then return home to Korea. But they didn't do it. They stayed in Germany. Lots of them stayed, like 50%. And I think that was kind of interesting if I compare these two projects. Well, I think the message is somewhere in the title. The title, Uri Nara, is Korean and literally means our country. Most Koreans use it as a synonym for Korea. So instead of saying Korea, they would always say Uri Nara. And what I really like about that fact is that it's a pretty good expression of the relationship you have with that country. And therefore it's so much more than just a name. Thinking about the adoptees, I realized that even though some of them could speak Korean, they would probably not say it in that way. And I thought that was an interesting fact. I mean, if you look at them, at this kind of diverse group of adoptees that have returned, that were staying in Korea, I mean, they might have different reasons to come. Some of them hated their adoptive countries, some of them just wanted to explore Korea, but I think all of them had to figure out their relationship with Korea. At the end, they might find something different. So, if you look at the title, I think the title can be seen as a question. It's a question like, did it work out like that for these people? Is it our country? Or is it just Korea? And I think that is something the viewer that looks at my pictures, reads the interviews, should ask themselves, what do you think? Did it turn out like that or not? Right now, I'm thinking about continuing the Uri Nara project because a little more than 10 years have passed since I started it and a lot has happened since.